welcome to Ask Me About K-Pop, the essential guide for recent converts and seasoned fans alike. My name is Shannon.
And I'm Angelica.
And welcome to the show. We are one day away from our 5th anniversary special. Today is actually the 5th anniversary of the first episode posting. So yay, happy birthday to us officially.
Yay,
but if you want to
5 years.
celebrate with us, we are doing a big live show on Moment. And today is your last day to get tickets at regular price, moment.co/AMAKpop.
Yes, the day of our show, the ticket price will go up. So get your tickets now. Our show is tomorrow, Thursday, January 19th at 6 p.m. PST. And there will be a VOD available for 1 week after. So if you're not in our time zone or you can't make it to sit down live with us, still get a ticket because it'll be totally worth checking out. If you're a fan of the show, all your favorite parts will be featured in our birthday party.
And we can't wait to celebrate with y'all. So looking forward to that.
Yes. Moment.co/AMAKpop for tickets.
And today's episode, we are going to talk about something that we've definitely talked about many times on the show before. We talked about it when we had Chuck Ma on and talked about variety shows in general. And there was another episode, I can't remember why or which or when, but we've also talked about this show in another episode. But we've done almost 250 episodes at this point.
It's hard to, I feel like I've forgotten more than I remember at this point.
Totally. But today we're going to do a little deep dive into Weekly Idol.
Yes, an incredibly important staple of K-pop, I think. This is an idol variety show that every week features a different group, and they have sort of made a name for themselves for having really fun segments. Some of the segments of their show have become popular just on their own.
Yeah.
And you'll see other shows will do similar challenges because they are so popular on Weekly Idol. So this is just sort of a staple of the K-pop community and fandom. So we had to dive in and find out everything about it.
Yeah, no special reason. I don't think they're celebrating an anniversary or anything at the moment, but the show has been on for this is the 12th year that it's been on. So it's worth talking about.
And it's gone through some changes throughout the year.
Sure.
So we're going to kind of we're going to start by telling you about the show format and the premise, and then all the different hosts, because there have been quite a few. And some of those change ups were a pretty significant shuffle when it actually happened. So we're just going to kind of break down all the different aspects of the show and talk about some of the, most popular moments, most viewed segments. And that will sort of be it.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
All right, so this is a variety show that started in 2011. It currently airs every Wednesday on MBC, and the structure of the show has changed a little bit throughout the seasons, but the original premise had a pre-segment and then a main segment. And the guests of the pre-segment were not necessarily the main guest of the main segment. So you could actually have a few episodes where the idol group that's going to be on it will not be featured in the pre-segment, and that'll have a handful of random idols from other groups.
Interesting. Okay.
So the pre-segment had a few different little corners is what they call them.
Okay, yeah.
So before Idol of the Week, which is the main segment, Weekly Idol had only one segment. So the original show was just a real chart idol self-ranking where they would bring on idols from different groups that then had to rank each other on different topics. And this segment was eventually replaced with the following pre-segments. Not all of these segments happened every episode. These are just
shuffle them around.
Yeah. So one of them was called I Wonder If You Know. And this was where hosts and featured idols, this one had Ilhoon of B2B and Bomi of A-Pink, they would guess one answer out of two choices about idols, and then they would have food as a prize. So
food is often a prize on Weekly Idol.
That is usually the prize. And Ilhoon and Bomi were featured idols that would come back for this segment. So when I name the idols that were a part of this segment, that means they got invited multiple times to be a part of it. The next one was called Weekly Food Tasting, where the hosts and featured idols, this time Hayoung of A-Pink, Mina of AOA, and N of VIX, would compete in different missions just to win food. That's all it was. Then we had Idols Are the Best, and the featured idols for this segment or this corner were Jackson from GOT7, Chuon from Monsta X, Sinbi of G-Friend, and Dahyun of Twice. And they would be given different missions. So this is like, we made a playlist of the different like most popular segments. I'm going to talk about like one of these moments later, but like when Dahyun and Hani had like a flexibility contest, this was from Idols Are the Best.
Yeah,
so Dahyun wasn't like, Twice was not on that episode, but
Right.
Dahyun was at the beginning to do this little challenge.
Yeah, this Idols Are the Best part was during a hiatus that we'll talk about later, but these four were on like every episode
Yes.
for like months
Yeah, they would
straight
come
doing
back.
this segment.
Then we had Masked Idol, Your Name Is. And this is a corner where masked idols would compete against one another in different things. And the winner got to remove their mask and then either promote themselves or their group. And the losers had to come back the next week to compete again and potentially for the
okay.
chance to reveal
Like
themselves.
Masked Singer, where you get to
Yes.
come back when you win.
But I
Okay.
don't think it was necessarily a singing competition. I think they just had to do different things in masks. So then we got to the main segment, and the main segment is called Idol of the Week. And this features idol groups as invited guests with several different corners that varied from episode to episode. All of them are pretty informal. It's not like the premise of the show, like Knowing Brothers, to have everyone speak informally, but it is a very informal, like just good fun, like
Yes.
let's play games kind of vibe to the show. So we've got a whole bunch of different corners to go through. I'm just going to list them, no particular order. These are all the different kinds of things that idols would do. And they might do more than one of these.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
Usually
just
it's like
one.
3 or 4 of these little corners per episode, depending on how it shook out. Because sometimes like a challenge is really funny and it's like,
and it takes a really
forever,
long
so
time
that's
or
the
whatever.
majority of the episode.
And sometimes like there were some idols that would be on more than one episode. Like when Big Bang was on, they got 2 episodes.
Right,
So
they
they
do
did a
it
whole
double
bunch.
week.
Yeah. So it all just sort of depended on like how long the idols were there. The first one, probably the most well-known, is the random play dance. And this is where staff of the show would play any song promoted by the guests. And the idols had to dance the choreography. But when I say songs promoted by guests, that means any guest that has ever been on Weekly Idol, their song might play. So the idols that are there are not necessarily singing or dancing to their songs or even songs of their gender. So like they'll just put on, like BTS is on and now they have to dance to an A-Pink song or whatever. Then we have profile verification / rewritten profile.
Yes.
And this was where idols would comment on their own profile card. So the host would like print up a big poster board with like the internet profile of the idol.
Right. And they have like the sections like covered with tape and like reveal them. And
Yeah. And so then the idols would have to either like comment on it or prove to them that that was really true.
Right. That
So
they
they're
are
like,
that tall
Yes.
or that is their talent or whatever.
Exactly. Or they really did go to that school or whatever it is. Then we had Grill Idol. Oh, no, sorry. Then we had Win Against Idol. And this is where guests would play a game against the hosts themselves. And the winner would get a special prize. And sometimes that was food. Sometimes it was like I watched this one Blackpink segment where they literally won a laptop. And then like I've seen other ones. I remember like GOT7, I think. They won a chance to use JYP's credit card, like for any purchase. They like got to use a credit card. So that was the prize, some sort of like fun prize. And then the loser, whether it's the host or the idols, would get some sort of physical punishment. And on Weekly Idol, they love to use those red toy
squeaky
hammers and just like smash
whack
the shit out of
with
people.
them.
Then we had Grill Idol, and this was where idols had to answer questions from the hosts. And if for every correct answer, you got a piece of grilled beef. Then we had Donikoni Idol Call Center. Donikoni references the name of the hosts at the time. And this was a fun little special call center that would be prepared before the episode where fans could personally call in and leave messages, which were then played for the guests. And sometimes the fans would make requests like, can you perform this or can you sing this? And the idols would have to do it. Then we had an absent member call center where if a member is absent for any reason, they will be called live and then prompted to mention other members' names in the conversation. And whoever is present and mentioned the least amount of times gets a prize.
Okay.
Then we had a 99 seconds challenge. Guests needed to succeed in a mission during a 90-second relay. Nice and straightforward. And probably the best known and most popular segment from Weekly Idol is the 2x speed dance challenge, where guests must dance to their own song at double speed. And the first group to ever try this segment was G-Friend, and they became known as the legends of the 2x speed because they never made any mistakes whenever they did it. And it's now one of the most popular segments of the show. And this is one of those segments that like other shows have taken and like
Yeah.
I've seen other shows do similar things
Yeah,
to this.
absolutely.
Then we had This Corner's Star Is Me, where guests had to decide a punishment among themselves in 3 categories: when the punishment happened, where, and what the punishment would be. And then they played games for each category, and the losing team had to complete whatever the punishment was.
Okay.
Then we had a 2x speed random play dance. So we're going to combine those 2 dance segments. This was originally also tried out on G-Friend, and it's basically just the random play game, but at a double speed with only one chance to win some sort of expensive prize. Sometimes that's like a pack of, Korean beef.
The fancy beef.
And sometimes
Yeah.
it's like a mini fridge or whatever. It's like random stuff.
Yeah.
Then we had magic choreography. I love this one.
Super
This one's
fun.
one of my favorites. This is where guests need to fit the choreography for one of their songs to the music of another group's song.
That has like the same BPM
Yes.
so that they can like just do
so
it
the
right
beat
over.
still
Yeah.
stays. But so, for example, like EXID had to dance up and down to 17's Manse, or Red Velvet had to dance their Russian Roulette to Hyuna's Bubble Pop. So like the other song is playing and then the choreography like matches, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
Then we had I Am a Native Speaker. This was specifically created for EXID because of their wide range of English abilities. And it featured a German entertainer named Dario who would like specifically come to participate in this segment.
I feel like we talked about this once. I don't know if it was in the
I think we did it
EXID
in the
episode or
EXID
something, but
episode,
I
yeah.
remember talking about this specifically once.
Yes. And so this is a segment that like it was for EXID. I think they've done it with other groups too. But basically, the members had to give English clues for a word to this German entertainer, Dario, and they could not act out the word. They just had to give English clues. And then Dario could answer either in Korean or English. And the member who gets Dario to answer the most correct, or to guess the most correct answers would win a prize. So it was a competition between the members. We also had Back to Debut. This was a segment or a corner that was originally added to the main segment in 2019. And this is where a group would dance their debut song with their original hair and makeup styling.
Cute.
So it's really fun. They like put on wigs and stuff. And then we have Do You Know This? This is a segment for young idols born after 1990 where they play old playground games from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And the winners of a best of 3 win retro snacks. Mm-hmm. Then the last thing we had, the last like special segment, happens once a year. This is called the Weekly Idol Award. This is an hour-long end-of-the-year episode. It started the first year the show aired, so December 31st, 2011 was the first time. And this is an episode that doesn't have guests. It is just the hosts where they then review the moments and appearances.
Clip
it's like
show.
a highlight reel. Exactly.
Great. So that's your expected things you might see in a Weekly Idol episode.
So you'll see like a handful of the featured segments in that pre-segment, and then you'll get like 3 or 4 of the corners from the main segment with a new Idol guest. And that's kind of the run of the show.
Yeah, and there's probably a bunch of other ones that they only did one time that didn't work so good or whatever.
But those are the ones that happen like multiple
It's
times.
a very free-for-all kind of show. So now I want to get into all of the hosts throughout
Yes.
all of time on Weekly Idol. So our original hosts who hosted the show from July 2011 when it premiered until February of 2018 were known as Donnie and Connie because of their names. So the first one is Jung Hyun-dong and he is a comedian who debuted on Gag Concert, which is a kind of like SNL sketchy kind of show.
Okay.
And he was also a notable cast member of Infinite Challenge, and he was on the first season of We Got Married, where he was married twice. First, he was married to a TV personality named Saudi, and then she left, and then they paired him with Girls' Generation Taeyeon.
Which is bananas because their age difference is huge.
Like 12 years.
And he is like a grown man and she was like very young when she was on that.
So people are not stoked about that couple. But I always remember it as a thing that he did. But he's married in real life and he had twin daughters that were born in 2012. So he's a dad and he's like a very short, like very goofy, very wild guy. And then his co-host was Defcon, who's like this big, tall, stoic sunglasses man.
Yeah.
And they make a very funny pair. So Defcon is a rapper who debuted in 2004 with like underground rap that was comedic and self-deprecating.
Fun.
So he kind of had that vibe. And he was a founding member of the show I Live Alone and was on that show for the first 2 years. He also joined the cast of 2 Days, One Night in 2013 and was on that show till 2019. So he's in like every episode of that. And he's like almost always wearing a hat and sunglasses or just regular glasses. And he's a sneakerhead. Like on 2 Days, One Night, a bunch of times they'd be like out in the woods and he'd put bags over his shoes so they like did not get dirty. But they were like the original hosts, like the hosts that most people think of. And I feel like they'll remain the hosts forever. Like when you think about it, like it was their show.
Like it was. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, this was Donnie Coney's show. Like that's who it was. And I feel like the idols like enjoyed the pairing of those two because they are very like goofy and they like crack a lot of jokes and they tease the idols a lot and they like really don't pull any punches in that sense, which I think is fun because like I assume that idol, you know, like usually when they do those like music stage interviews or like other variety show things, it's like there's a script and there's
everyone's
like
just kissing everyone's asses.
And that's not the vibe
No.
on Weekly Idol. Like Weekly Idol they would not let them get away with anything.
Right.
And like
It's about
if they did
pure
something funny,
razzing. Somebody misspeaks, then we're going to grab onto it and you're going to get made fun of right now.
or like you tried to do a mission and you tripped. Haha, like you tripped, you loser. Like we're going to make fun of you.
Right. Which is what I think makes Weekly Idol so funny and like leads to so many hilarious moments. But it was this period of the show was always very like controversial and contentious because fans are very precious about their idols and didn't like the joking and would get like very easily offended by all the teasing and all of the jokes. But like I feel like that's what the show was.
Yeah, I also really liked that aspect of it, especially because it encouraged the members to tease each other. And so there's like a lot of really funny, like, I know like in the Big Bang one, for example, which I'm bringing up because I just like recently rewatched a whole bunch of clips from it, but they are like so quick to jump on and like it's so funny to see them do like the random play something and then all of a sudden be like, he got it wrong. Like immediately, like they turn on each other and it's very fun. It's fun.
So then in February of 2018, these two left the show like very abruptly. It was very strange. People were really confused. They didn't even really get a goodbye episode.
No, they were just like out.
And there were a lot of shakeups happening at NBC at the time. Like a ton of, I can't remember if this was, I don't know. I might be wrong. I should have looked this up. But there was a point that I feel like was a similar time where the whole cast of like Running Man quit.
Yes.
In protest because like of all of the changes going on. I don't know if that was a different channel though. I might be wrong.
Well, but didn't they also say that like not just the hosts of Weekly Idol left, but they replaced the entire staff. Like it was like and I don't know if it was because the staff like left in solidarity with Donnie Coney or if like the NBC came in and just like fired everyone, was like, we're starting over. We don't really know like what happened, but essentially everyone who worked on Weekly Idol from 2011 to 2018 got replaced at the beginning of the year.
So then in April of 2018, whole new staff, 3 new hosts. And these hosts were Lee Sang-min, who debuted in Rura, the co-ed group, in 1993. And he also produced a ton of first-gen hits for groups like Country Coco and Chakra and lots of people that we've talked about. He was also famously arrested and jailed in 2006 for gambling issues. And he's currently a permanent cast member of My Little Old Boy and Knowing Brothers. And they make gambling jokes at him on Knowing Brothers all the time. He's one of the glasses wearers of the Knowing Brother cast.
Gotcha.
Not the like super goofy one that everyone makes fun of, but the other glasses guy. He usually sits in the back of the classroom, but you might recognize him.
Because he's a hoodlum, so he's in the back.
And then the second host was Yoo Se-yoon, who is a comedian who debuted on KBS in 2004 as one of the KBS the channels in Korea in an old Hollywood way.
They have like
casts.
Yeah. That's how they do it in Thailand too. It's wild. Like the production companies have actors that they like use for multiple things. It's a cool system. I kind of like it.
So he was a KBS comedian starting in 2004 and is a member of a comedic hip hop duo called UV. And you might recognize him as he was a permanent cast member on the show Abnormal Summit from 2014 to 2017. And he currently hosts a show called Divorced Singles, which is interesting. And he shows up on all kinds of things, like he's a face that I recognize. And then finally, we had the girl for this cast, which is Kim Shin-young. And she is a comedian who also debuted in 2004 on SBS's People Looking for Laughter. And she has hosted so many shows. She is one of the two tiny comedian ladies. Yeah. But she's not. She's one of, there's two of them.
She's not the one on Amazing Saturday.
Yes,
she's the other one.
And she hosted a all-female version of Infinite Challenge called Infinite Girls that was on for a couple of years. She was a permanent cast member of Happy Together, hosted Show Champion for a while, and she currently hosts a show called Korea Sings on KBS.
Nice.
So these three came in from April to November of 2018, and it was only very short because the ratings of the show plummeted. Everybody, like, even though they'd complained about them when they were there, everyone missed Doni Koni as soon as they were gone and just said the show didn't feel right anymore.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that was due to the confusion about the change. Because there was no like statement made. And like, I feel like I remember when this happened that Doni Koni like kind of made it seem like they didn't want to leave and they like had to. So there's a lot of unanswered questions about why this shift happened. And I think that sort of like tainted this
small moment of the show. So then in December of 2018, they got 3 more new hosts, and these hosts were here until February of 2020. And the first one was a comedian named Nam Chang-hee, who debuted in 2002, but he doesn't have a wiki in English, a wiki in Korean. I couldn't find anything about this dude. So I don't know where he came from or what else he's on. He has no internet presence. But
interesting.
He was
Maybe
one
he's
of
just
them.
like some random like NBC exec nephew that was like, here, put him on it.
Yeah.
I owe his mom a favor.
And then we had Cho Se-ho, and he debuted as a commercial actor in 2004 and released a music album in 2007 and was just kind of like hustling, doing all kinds of commercial work and whatever. But he got his big break as a cast member of Roommate in 2004.
Okay.
He also was a cast member for 199 episodes of Happy Together.
Damn.
Didn't get that 200, which I thought was funny. But he makes guest appearances on so many things, and his like variety personality is that he is like a goofy, annoying, desperately single guy. Like that is his vibe, is that he's like constantly showing off, trying to get girls, trying to be cool, but he's just like short and chubby and he's goofy and like he's the butt of every joke when he shows up on things. He currently hosts a show called My Friends Are Smarter Than Me. And
again, the butt of the joke.
Yeah. And then the third host was Hwang Kwang-hee, who was a member of second gen boy group ZEA. But he's very well known for his super like loud, flamboyant personality. And he has appeared on more TV shows and dramas and variety stuff than he ever did boy band things.
To be honest, I always forget Kwang Hee was a boy band member at all, because I know him from like Drinking Solo and like or
To the Beautiful You.
To the Beautiful You. That's what it was. Yeah. I was like, which one was the one where he was always putting on lip gloss? To the Beautiful You. But yeah, so I feel like I know him as an actor and as a variety host so much more than I ever knew him as an idol.
As being in a boy band. But yeah. So then that little duo lasted for about trio lasted for about a year and a half. And then in February 2020, they changed it again. And now, presently, the only hosts of the show are Kwang Hee. They kept him. And Eunhyuk, who is a member of Super Junior and the Super Junior subunit D&E. He has 61 lyric and composition credits for Super Junior songs.
Fun fact.
And he made his MC debut in 2006 with his radio show called Super Junior's Kiss the Radio, which he hosted for 5 years straight. And apparently he only ever missed the show like one night.
Wow.
So he was very dedicated to his radio show. He was also the performance director on the show Under 19, which is where One the Nine came from. Cool. And he was recently a judge on Street Man Fighter.
He's on a bunch of stuff.
He's on so many things. He's a person. But right now, in this moment, Kwang Hee and Eunhyuk are the hosts of Weekly Idol.
Yeah. And we're not really going to go into it, but like just to, if you're familiar with these variety shows, you might be thinking like, but Doni Koni, like they're not gone, like they still have another one or whatever. And it's true. They sort of like spun off, and after Weekly Idol like changed their whole thing or whatever, Doni Koni came back with a show called Idol Room. And it's very, very similar to Weekly Idol. Like it's essentially the same thing with like different corners. But that's a different show. We're not really going to talk about it. Like Doni Koni are still around. They still get to have fun with idols, but not on Weekly Idol
I did write a
anymore.
small paragraph about it, like just for context sake.
Yeah.
So the show, they kicked them off of Weekly Idol in February of 2018. And then by May of 2018, JTBC started airing their very first idol reality show called Idol Room that would be hosted by them. And it has essentially the exact same format. They like changed up a lot of the games, but it was very similar. It gave you that feeling.
Yeah, because now it's like, instead of having to like dance your song to different speeds, now you have to dance it to different cameras or whatever, and like move around the room or whatever.
But this show was canceled in February of 2020, and their final guest was Sekshkis.
Oh, interesting.
So Idol Room isn't on anymore, but like just for context sake, they did go do like another similar show afterwards. So that's all of the hosts, past and present, of Weekly Idol.
Amazing.
So another piece of Weekly Idol history that's like important for context is there was a long period of time where Doni took a hiatus. So in 2015, his company announced that he would be immediately ceasing all activities as his anxiety disorder had made it impossible for him to do his job. While he was away, they got a whole bunch of other idols to come in and serve as extra guest hosts with DEFCON. This is also the period of time where we did that Idols Are the Best corner with our Jackson and all those people.
And I read that the specific idols that were brought in to serve as these guest hosts were idols that Doni was close with. So like idols that had some sort of personal relationship and like were friends with him were like coming in to fill in for him.
So some of these guest hosts included Sungkyu from Infinite, Hani from EXID, Heechul from Super Junior, Bomi from A-Pink, Sunny from Girls' Generation, Lee Tuck from Super Junior, Jung Young-hwa from CN Blue, Andy from Shinhwa, and Yoo Do-jun from Beast, and also K-Will. And most of those people did like 2 to 5 guest host appearances, but Hani did 28.
Yeah, she was on there for a while. She was a very popular guest host because she is freaking adorable and charming and like would like squeal and laugh and like react so wonderfully.
Hani and Heechul were the most popular of the temporary MCs, and fans were like really sad when they were gone. And when Doni Koni left, if you look at the articles from when they were like, they're changing the Weekly Idol hosts, almost all of the comments are like, give the show to Hani and Heechul because they were so good at it. And people also felt like where they thought that Doni and Coney were like too mean or they just didn't like, they didn't trust their intentions. They felt like idols or
Would
more on the
treat
same
the
level.
idols,
And so
yeah.
they're treating them on a...
It also would have been cool to I mean, I guess it is now hosted by Kwang Hee and Eun Hyuk. So like it is hosted by idols right now. And I think that's cool, like to have a show called Weekly Idol that is featuring different idols hosted by idols.
Right.
I think it works.
It does. So in October of 2016, Doni did come back on an A-Pink episode. I remember when this episode aired because I had to watch it as a good Pink Panda. But like when the show first started, the atmosphere was like very awkward. And you could tell that like he felt weird about being gone so long. And like, is it okay to come back? And like the beginning of the episode is kind of strange. But then Chorong says like, I'm afraid to say anything because I don't want to make you leave again. And like everybody really cracked up and it like totally broke the tension. And then like it was back, he was back and it was all good. But that's the story of the long hiatus, which was like, it was like almost a full year where there were temporary hosts and stuff. But it's a good chunk. Like they really did a good job at keeping the show like fun and fresh, even with one host missing.
I thought so. So now we're just going to kind of jump into some of the like most, the highlights of the show in general. Like it's been on since 2011. We've had so many great appearances, so many funny moments. It's a show where like idols kind of let loose a little bit and kind of like Knowing Brothers, and they like goof around and they show off silly skills and it's a good time. So first, we're talking about the guests that have been on the show the most amount of times. Would you like to run through this list?
Sure. I don't know if this is perfectly accurate because this was done with a Control F counting of the list of all the shows, but it looks like Beast, Red Velvet, and 4 Minute appeared 7 times.
Nice.
Stray Kids and B2B have done 8 appearances. GOT7 as a group was on 9 episodes, but if you add the Jackson episodes, it gets way bigger.
And there were like a couple that would just have, like it would only have Mark or would only have Jackson or whatever.
Right. EXID did 11 times. G-Friend, queens of all of the random play dances, have 13 episodes. A-Pink has appeared on the show 14 times as a group, and then the winners of most appearances on Weekly Idol is Infinite with 15 appearances, and they were also the first guest.
Nice.
So they really did it.
Yeah, and they got like crowned the Hall of Fame, like Weekly Idols, because they had come on the most with 15 different appearances. So then some of our most viewed moments. So this is just like from YouTube. I like scrolled through to find like what has been viewed the most. And we have moments themselves. First up, BTS dances to girl groups. This was from episode 229. I don't think this is a random play thing. If I remember correctly from the clip, it's like they say that they're like someone so-and-so does girl group dances. Yeah. Then we had our 5th anniversary special, which featured twice B2B, G-Friend, and GOT7, all on episode 262. And they played a special limbo game with those 4 groups. Then we had a Try Not to Dance challenge with Mamamoo and G-Friend from episode 313. And this was just the girls are lined up along the wall and Doni Coney like play different songs and try to get them to break. And Wheein and Hwasa don't even fucking try. Like the first song they play is Uptown Funk, and Hwasa and Wheein just look at each other and they're like, we give up. And they immediately like come in to dance. And then they say, since we're disqualified, can we pick the rest of the songs? So then they get to be the DJs
fun.
for the rest of it. It's a fun thing. The next most viewed moment is also from the 5th anniversary special that had twice B2B, G-Friend, and GOT7 in them. So this is from episode 262. And B2B did a karaoke cover of the trot song Tears. And they kind of like go back. Some of the members are like really trying to hit the notes. And then some of the members are like not
just
trying
shrieking
at all. And like they give like the rapper of B2B like one of the high notes and his voice cracks. And it's a very fun. And they're all wearing like weird wigs. It's a very goofy clip. Then the last most viewed moment in our top 5 is, like I mentioned, the Hani and Dahyun Flexibility Challenge, which was from that Idols Are the Best corner on episode 265. And this was a segment where they had to like lay on their stomachs and then push themselves up on their hands and try to get their heads in between their feet, like kind of like
back bendy,
like rolled up
a
little dumpling or whatever. And Hani is really funny because she like goes and then she like looks at the guys. She's like, "Why aren't you helping me?" And they're like, "Oh, sorry." And they start like pulling her hair and they pull off her sock to like tie it around her hair. They're like, it reaches. And then Dahyun goes and she bends so far back that her feet rest on her shoulders.
Wow.
And everyone freaks out. And Hani like can't even look at her because she's like, "It's messed up. I don't like it." So it's a very funny clip. Then the next most popular videos are all from the 2x speed challenge and the random play dance. So our most viewed 2x speed challenges are number 1, Blackpink Boombaya from episode 277. So fun to rewatch this one because they are so young and fresh and new. Lisa's hair is the worst shade of blonde I've ever seen. And I was like, "Oh, you guys weren't famous enough to get that good dye."
Yeah.
Then our next 3 are all from that 5th anniversary special that had Twice, GFriend, GOT7, and B2B. And I am assuming that all 4 of the groups had to do a 2x speed challenge. But the next 3 in descending order of most watched are Twice, Cheer Up, GFriend, Nabilera, and GOT7's If You Do. And all of these are from episode 261. Nice. That was a 2-part 5th anniversary special. So like the Limbo was in 262, the 2x speed dances were in 261. And this is the GOT7 If You Do where Jin Young has to take his shoes off. Mm-hmm. And then he's wearing, because like If You Do is really fast footwork and he couldn't do it with the like nice loafers he had on or something.
Loafers.
So he takes them off and then he's wearing these like little tiny socks and one of them keeps falling off and they're like all laughing at his socks, but he nails it. Like they do such a good job.
It's my favorite.
And then the last most viewed 2x speed challenge is Big Bang's Bang 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 from episode 285. And this is definitely one of the most viewed because it is such a joke. Like their whole random play thing, like Big Bang are not dancers.
Right.
Like that's not their thing. And the whole episode 2, they were like, "We're not dancers. Like we're not."
Yeah.
But Top was so ready. He was like, "Yes, let's do this." And they're like, "Well, let's just play the song like right now so that you can hear it." And he immediately starts like, "Yes, yes, yes, yes," like clapping along or whatever. And I think it's Donnie who comes and grabs him and is like, "Well, wait until we tell you to start. Like, wait." And his like little feet are just like beep, 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 like moving around. He's so cute. That episode really made me fall in love with Top. I remember when it happened so many years ago. Anyway, that one's the last most watched of our top 5. And it's really just for the like comedic aspect. The other ones, it's like technically amazing to watch. But the Big Bang one is kind of a joke. Then the next segment that is the most popular is the random play dance. And sometimes the random play is any group, like I said, and then sometimes it is a random play of the group's songs.
Sure.
So they'll just like play really old songs of theirs
See
that
if
they have to like remember the choreo.
And stuff, yeah.
So Wiki Miki and Golden Child were on an episode together, episode 320, which was like I think it was called something about like rookies. Or something.
They usually stack up rookies. Like last night I watched an episode that had our Baby Blitzers and our Bugaboo Gone Too Soon
R.I.P.
and Omega X. And the guest host for that one was my short king Changbin. So I had to watch it. But yeah, the rookie episodes, they usually have to share because it seems like they're like, well, you're rookies. Like you can share this weekly Idol episode.
Mm-hmm. So the Wiki Miki and Golden Child random play dance from episode 320 is the most watched random play dance. Next up is Wanna Ones from episode 316. Then we have Blackpink from episode 310, Twice from episode 228, and Big Bang from episode 284, because their appearance was 2 episodes, 284 and 285. So, and in theirs, they did a random play dance of their own songs. So that one is also on this list because of the comedic value of it. Because A, most of their songs don't have choreography. And B, they are totally bullshitting all of the choreo because they don't know it. And it's really obvious that they don't. And Donnie Coney are calling them out like, you're just making this up. You're just making this up. And at one point they they like play a song, and one of them, I don't remember, I think it's Day song, that just starts like step touching and snapping and like G-Dragon, and like everybody else like fell in line and just like started doing it, but G-Dragon like can't stop laughing because he's like, this is so dumb. And they're all like, stop, like this isn't right, like what is that? And they were like, well, the truth is we just stand and sing that song, like I don't know what to do. Like we don't do anything during it. And then one of them is like, well, no, the real truth is that we stand on these little LED boxes that go up and down, so what are we supposed to do, stand here and go up and down? And he just like bounces in place. And they were like, but then why did you do this? Like this isn't even Big Bang style choreo. And G-Dragon is like, yeah, you make us look like nerds or whatever. And it's all just like a ridiculous, chaotic mess.
Right.
And that is why it is super popular, because Big Bang is a mess.
Yeah. So those are all of our like notes breakdown of Weekly Idol. But I think it's just so interesting because I feel like when I got into K-pop, which was 10 years ago, we are in our 10th year of being K-pop stans. Isn't that crazy? I felt like Weekly Idol was like so deeply important. And I feel like that's why we've brought it up in previous episodes or whatever, where in a pre-YouTube world, where before groups were making their own variety shows and their own YouTube content, Weekly Idol was one of the places you could go to like get to know a group or like see them in their natural element or like laugh at whatever. And I thought that like maybe it seems less relevant these days, but like looking at all of the guests from like the last 2 years, it still seems like the place to go to. And that like all of these like newer groups like Tempest and Gravity and Way and Classy and Drippin' and Nature, all of these people have been on like the last 12 episodes. Wavy is the most recent episode that came out last week. So like it's still a thing, and it's still like, I don't know. I just kind of hope that it never ends, because I feel like the format is perfect for group introductions or just like having a good fun time.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Totally
I love
agree.
Weekly Idol.
I love Weekly Idol. And I remember it was one of, aside from We Got Married, it was like because I wouldn't really call that a variety. That's like a reality
show.
And so Weekly Idol was like the first variety show that I had ever watched. And like, you know, watching the like 280p like versions of like pixelated shinies, like doing their super speed dance or whatever. And I remember thinking like, why are they always making them play for food? Like it made me so weirdly uncomfortable to like see these idols like compete to eat. And I was like, do they not get fed? Like, why are we always making them compete for food? But it's such a standard, like Knowing Brothers, they make them compete for food too. Like so many different variety shows like have food as Amazing Saturday. That's like the whole point of it, is that they get to eat. So I kind of had to get used to it or whatever, but it was an interesting first variety show to be like the one that gets you into the like, oh, this is what it looks like with all the comments on the screen and like the, you know, little captions and all these things. So I love Weekly Idol. I think, like you said, the format of the show is perfect. Like they have so many fun little corners that are just like really, they make for a great watch, and they make for really good idol content, like where the idols kind of get to break out of their perfection persona and be a little goofy, have a little fun.
And also just like a note, so you can watch Weekly Idol like on any of the places, your K-Show 123s, your drama whatevers.
But there are a lot of fully subbed eps on YouTube. Those are all fan subbed. They're not official. Like there is an official YouTube channel that usually just posts clips. And I did make a playlist of all of the most viewed moments and most viewed like dance challenges. I made a playlist of everything that I just listed. So you can watch those. And a lot of those are from the like original thing. But some of like the moments, you know, the ones that are not like the random player, the 2-time speed challenge, those are just like I don't know, somebody like recorded it and put it on it. So the whole episodes are not available on YouTube. YouTube, but some of them are.
Yeah, some of them are. And I just wanted to point out that like if you have a smart TV or like a Roku or like one of those things that has like free TV channels, there's a CJ E&M channel and they have a movie and a K-pop offshoot. So there's like 3 different little Korean content channels and they play full episodes of Weekly Idol like all day long.
Oh, nice.
So like I catch random Weekly Idols on my Samsung CJ channel sometimes. So just pointing that out, if you didn't know that existed, go look for it on your little stick that you watch TV with. So yeah, that's a little deep dive into Weekly Idol, and I hope that everybody goes and finds an episode with one of their fave groups or a group they're trying to get into or whatever. Like watch a Weekly Idol episode. If you don't laugh your ass off or fall in love, then like you're probably broken, because this show
100%
has everything.
It is impossible not to crack up watching this. Like, and I know this was it. I guess I haven't gone to it in a while, maybe because I haven't gotten into a new group in a while, but this was like one of my go-tos.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, when I got into 17, I watched all their Weekly Idols. I watched all their idol rooms. When I got into like whatever, Shiny, watched all the Weekly Idols, because it is a really good way to get to know the personalities of the members. And it's just always so funny.
Yeah. So that's Weekly Idol, and we'll be right back with a random game. All right, we are back, and this week the random number generator gave us a temporary project group called MSG Wannabe.
Yeah, this was a super group formed on the NBC variety show Hang Out With You, which was originally designed to try and figure out what Yoo Jae-suk does on his days off, and eventually became him working on different projects. And they did a WSG, so like one for women, and this is the male version.
Yeah, we talked about that one in our support girl groups episode this year, but this came first, this boy version. And all of the boys in this one were all actors or solo artists. And the girl version had some like former idols mixed in with the actresses and solo artists, but these don't appear to have any boys that were in any idol groups.
And I also feel like I want to call them men.
They are
because
not
they are
boys.
not
I
boys.
should not
they
call
are
them
not
boys.
young at all. I mean, they're not old, but no one's in their 20s here, I don't think. But so we had 8 members, and they were split into 2 subunits: JSDK, which had Kim Jong-min, Simon Dominic, Lee Dong-hui, and Lee Sang-yi. And then we had MOM, which had Ji Sok-jin, KCM, who is Kang Chong-mo, and Wonstein and Park Jae-jung.
And Seokjin is one of the Running Man members. So like that's how I know him. And we just recently watched An Amazing Saturday that had Mino as a temporary panelist in place of He. And KCM was one of the guests. And that dude is fucking hilarious.
Oh my God, he's so
He
funny.
has a really crazy vibe and I loved it.
Yeah, he's like huge. He's tall and like barrel chested and like so funny and like light on his feet and like willing to be goofy, but also very sincere.
And his voice was incredible.
Amazing. And he was on it with Kim Bum-soo, who's one of our favorite soloists.
Of course.
And Kim Bum-soo is his mentor. So like it was a great episode.
It was
Very
a
fun
great
to watch.
episode.
He's a doll.
So MSG Wannabe put out their special album after these episodes aired in June of 2021. And the album had 6 songs on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 songs. Only 2 of them were performed by the whole group. Otherwise, they were split into the 2 subunits, and the subunits performed them. And it looks like the song Foolish Love that was sung by the MOM subunit did go to number 1.
Yes. And what we're going to watch is actually a single that they put out in 2022. So last year, this was a non-album single called Do You Want to Hear? And it is sung only by the MOM boys.
Yeah.
Or men.
The MOM men.
The MOM.
The MOM. So if you want to watch that with us, pull it up, MSG Wannabe Do You Want to Hear? And press play when I say go. 3, 2, 1, go. All right,
Okay, we've got some doors opening, a little logo. Okay, that's Kang Chong-mo. He's trying to get somebody out of bed, and there's a lot of little animations. But he's wearing headphones.
I think that's Park Jae-jung with the ears. And there's Seokjin in his glasses. He's crying.
But like with laughter. Who is this? His daughter?
I hope his daughter.
It
Because
has
it's
to
a girl
be.
in high school. And he gave her air freshener and she doesn't want it. But he's
he
happy.
laughs. Oh, he's cute. He's holding an enormous bear. We have like a little Girl Scout troop. I assume that's him in the bear costume. Look at these little hats.
Oh my God, little preschool outfits.
Those are so cute.
There's a really scary part in All of Us Are Dead. I think it was in All of Us Are Dead where the preschoolers were zombies. And it was like all of them in their little hats.
Little
And
hats. God. So one of our guys is working at like a 7-Eleven or
that's
something.
Weinstein, I think.
Yeah, that one's Weinstein. He's got the long hair.
Oh, did he get the?
He got a
phone
better
for the
present.
daughter. It's better. Good job.
Yay!
You did it.
Good dad. Got a hug. All right, KCM and his big-eared roommate trying to figure out. Oh, they're also giving each other presents. Is this a Christmas song?
It said it came out 10 months ago.
Oh, okay. So no.
Valentine's Day, maybe?
February 26th. Yeah.
Oh, here, Dad, have this all white outfit.
Yeah, we got to put dad in something cool. Weinstein producing some music.
He's got an idea bubble. He's thinking so hard.
Oh, calling
Blow
all
up
the
the group
members.
chat.
And that was 7 different people, so that included everybody.
Yeah, some of these faces are not the faces of the MOMs, so they
MOMs,
must
yeah.
have just gathered anyone who was around to do this. Yeah, I know these guys.
These guys are not the MOMs. But apparently MOM did win a Mellon Music Award for their work in 2021. So
I remember
MOM
when-
seems to be the more like popular one.
Yeah. I remember when this album came out and was like really high on the Melon chart, and I was like, who is MSG wannabe? Like, I didn't understand. But yeah, this was all really popular because super groups, you get all the best singers, put them in one group, everyone's gonna love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great formula.
It is a good formula. I mean, the Mama Doll was great. Like,
Yeah.
Super M's really popular. We love a super group.
Love a super group.
We love it.
All right, it is weekly recommendation time, and we actually have a special recommendation for you this week. We have a little feature. We got to preview an album before it came out, but it is out today, and that is Signature, a newer girl group. We covered them 2 years ago in support girl groups. Time
Yes.
is going so fast. But Signature has their third EP out yesterday to you. It is called My Little Aurora, and the title track is called Aurora.
Yes, it is available now everywhere that you listen to music. And we watched the music video, got to listen to the song. It's just like a bouncy little love song about feeling happy and bright and a little bit magical in your love.
And the music video has all of our favorite fourth gen tropes of floating emojis in the sky, and they float on little clouds in the sky.
Yeah, and like in front of like fake little storefronts and in a bright, colorful house. There are a lot of different outfit changes in it, which was a fun surprise. So many like great textures, a lot of fur and fringe and like layered outfits.
Early Disney
I was
Channel
just gonna
style
say,
layering.
Gave Disney Channel a run for their money, those layered outfits. tickets.
But I loved the sparkle dresses. And there's also a part where they are dancing in front of the aurora, the northern lights. And I just love that like super colorful galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, it's very bright to look at. And yeah, this is totally my vibe of bouncy girl group music. And I think that the chorus is real catchy and fun. And yeah, we always want to support our new girl groups, and we want them to stick around and keep having comebacks. So check out the new signature EP available now.
It's called My Little Aurora, and the title track is called Aurora.
And that is it for this week. One more time, tomorrow is our live show. So go to moment.co/AMA Kpop and get your tickets if you haven't already. It's going to be such a good time. So many of you have already bought tickets. I'm just so excited. Like, I really hope that this goes well. And I'm just so excited to hang out with you guys and celebrate doing this podcast for 5 years, which I still kind of can't believe that we have done.
Totally. It's really a wild accomplishment, and one that I think neither of us really predicted or planned on. So to have the opportunity to do this show and share it with you guys is so exciting. So I hope you get your tickets. There's also a little after party after the original stream. We're going to just sort of hang out and have a informal Q&A or, fan meet sort of little virtual high touch. So come on down, 6 p.m. PST, moment.co/AMA Kpop for tickets.
Otherwise, we can be found on social media at AMA Kpop Pod for Twitter and Instagram, amakpoppod@gmail.com for emails. You can text us or send a voicemail to 181-AMA-KPOP5. We can also get mail at P.O. Box 26096, Los Angeles, California, 90026. Patreon.com/AMA Kpop Pod for extra bonus content. And just in case this wasn't clear, a lot of our Patreon content, especially what we're working on right now, is audio only. So you can import the feed into your regular podcast app and listen to the Patreon episodes like a regular podcast. We do have a lot of video content on there as well. But just in case, if you didn't know, a lot of our Patreon episodes are just like this, a regular old podcast.
Yeah, and you can have it in your podcast app where it just automatically updates. So if you are a patron and you're not sure how to do that, send us a message and we'll give you the instructions.
Yeah. But like we said, we're doing a couple different drama recaps on there right now, and we always have other special things going on Patreon. So check it out. Linktree/AMA Kpop will take you to all of our other places like YouTube and Spotify. We do have a YouTube playlist for all of the best weekly idol moments that we talked about today. Angelica also made a playlist of everything we talked about in last week's episode.
Yeah, I think it's all the stages we mentioned in the New Year's episode. It was all the ones I could remember us talking about and all the ones that were in our notes. So I might have missed one or two. I don't think I put the Super Junior one on there, but everything else is there.
And it's also possible that in time the playlist will get smaller and smaller because they were all most entirely, especially the Kwangya stages, were fan uploads.
Yes.
So SM might come for them at some point.
Yeah. So check it out now before it gets taken down.
Also on our link tree is a special section that has all of the homework assignments for tomorrow's stream. If you haven't voted in the Shiny Battle, especially, please go pick a song because we have two-way ties going on right now. So we need more votes so that we can find the actual winner. And I know that it's hard to ask you to pick one Shiny song. I know it's hard, but you have to do it for us. So that is on there. There's also a song battle if you have time to listen to 5 songs and vote, and do those right now if you're listening to the episode the day it came out, so we can get your results in. And those are all of the places.
Yes, they are.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for listening for the whole 5 years. If you have listened for the whole 5 years, or if you just got here and binged all 5 years in a couple of months, which I know some of y'all do, which is so wild to me. We love you and we appreciate you so much. And we're looking forward to so many more exciting things. So thank you. We love you.
We love you. Goodbye.
Bye. Jonghyun, you're our inspiration.